Hi folks, Mike Stomphergen with Showstopper Sequences. I'm going to show you a way that you can manage having identical props that have a significant number of submodels, a way that you can map sequences to those multiple props without having to create literally, dozens and dozens of submodel groups. So I came up with this way. I kind of created the monster of the high density props with multiple submodels when I created the Showstopper Snowflake, and then it just got worse when we created the Showstopper Spinner a couple of years later. They're both very popular props, but one of the things that people always have to deal with is, what do I do with all these subgroups? Do I have to create all these subgroup models? Is that something that I have to do every time? Well, what this is going to do is it's going to show you a way, and I'll go through this, and then I'll take you step by step as we go. What we're going to do is we're going to create a mapping source from one of the props. We're going to call that the source prop, and then we're going to use that to map to the other props that we have that are identical to it in our layout. So the first step is we're going to create a mapping source. Then the second step is we're going to take that mapping source and then we're going to map it to the identical props that we have. Then we're going to go to a source a source sequence that can be anyone from any source. Does not have to be Showstopper, but it can be just some other third-party sequence that we've got. Then we're going to try to map to our display. So we're going to map it to the first prop. And when I say the first prop, we're talking about the same prop that we created our source mapping source file from. And after you map that sequence, you're going to save it. And then you're going to take that sequence that you just saved and you're going to map it back to itself. And at that point, the aliases that we've created during this process should auto map everything back to the other props. But in this process, we're going to create a mapping file. So if the aliases don't work, we still have a mapping file that we can use to map back to the other props. All right, so I'm going to take you through this process. Get out of this real quick for us. And you can see here what I've done is I've created a very simple layout with 3 Showstopper spinners on it. The one on the left, I'm going to use that as my primary one. That's the one that we're going to create the mapping source file from. And then I've got 2 more. Oh, nothing special about them. They just are downloads directly from EFL Designs. All right, so let's go ahead and go up. We're going to go to File. We're going to create a new sequence, and it's just going to be an animation. I'll do 40 frames per second and a quick start. All right, so let me move some windows around here. Maybe, we'll see. There we go, that's a little better. Let's move this here temporarily to make a little more room. Okay. And I like my effect settings way over here. Maybe not. Oh well, we'll just put it there. All right, so I've got my effect settings there. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to put in some timing marks. Put one at the 5 second, one at the 10. We don't need any more than that because we're just going to go ahead and we're just going to add in a real quick on effect. All right, so I just double clicked on the first spinner, and what that did is it dropped down all the submodels going all the way down You can see we get into the Halloween stuff, and we get into the bones and at submodel 88. All right, so I'm going to go over here to the right and just click in the first cell there, created first timing mark. And I'm just going to hit the O command. That's what that does is it puts the on command into that cell group. And I am going to copy that. I'm going to right click and copy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight the areas of the submodel. And I'm just going to hit Control V to paste that down. All right. And I will just continue to do that for all the submodels. All right, now you'll see here I put one in the outer. If you do that, the ones that start with the asterisk, those are just area markers. They kind of designate which areas the submodels can be found on the prop. So if you accidentally put the on command in a separator, just delete it. All right, I'm going to come down here to the other Control V in there. And we might as well do the Halloween props. And again, I'm just hitting Control V, and it's copying that down. Let me go up here. Okay, I missed the center. The middle is one I had accidentally mapped to. See if there's anything else. Okay, so this is going to be our mapping source file. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to save that. Just going to save the sequence as mapping source file. All right, that's saved. Now let's create a second animation. We're going to go up to File, New Sequence. Again, an animation, 40 frames per second, quick start. All right. This time we don't even need timing marks because what we're going to do is we're going to import from the first sequence, the one that we just created. So we're going to import effects. And let me get to our subdirectory here. And I'm going to import directly from our mapping source file. Okay, and you'll see here what we have on the left is our 3 props, and on the right we have all the submodels that we just added the on command to. So I'm going to show you real quick, very easy to map this and get through all 88 of those. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to expand spinner 2. And I'm going to come here and I'm going to take spinner 1 and I'm going to map that to spinner 2. Now we've got that spacer mark where these says, okay, this applies to the whole spinner. We're going to skip that one. And we're coming over here to the cascading arches. Now what I'm going to do is just hit the Enter command. And when I do that, notice that it mapped over here on the left-hand side. It mapped the first one. And it advanced on the right side the cursor focus, and it also did it on the left side. So what I'm able to do is just hit Enter and go through all of these very quickly. And you see it's very quickly mapping those, and we just go down until we get to, another spacer. When we do the spacer, we're going to have to come over here to the left, and we're going to have to skip that. Now I want to change my focus back over to the right. And again, I can just start hitting Enter, and it's going to transfer those over. Okay, same thing again with the middle. Again, that region designator that I put in there. We're going to change the focus. We're going to skip that one. We're going to come back over here, put the cursor focus on the big hearts, and I'm going to copy that over till we get to the next spacer. Again, skip it on the left, refocus on the right, start hitting Enter. Okay, then we've got to skip for Halloween. And then Halloween, we start the process over and finish it out. So I need to delete that one. If you make a mistake, just double click on it, moves it back over to the other side. All right, so we've got this source here now. We've done all 88 of the submodels, and I'm going to do the same thing with spinner 3. All right, start up here with, and you'll notice on the right it's grayed out. That doesn't mean we can't use it. It just means it's a little harder to see. All right, so I'm going to add the spinner there. I'm going to come down here to the cascading arches and change my focus. And again, just start hitting enter. Does all those mappings for you real quick. Oh. Again, I'm going to skip, go back over here, make sure my focus is right. Skip again. Skip one more time. Oops. It crosses multiple times. So I'm going to advance that, go down to the cascading leaf, and again, just start with the enters. Okay, there we have it. All right, so what we've done now is we have mapped the original spinner 1 to spinners 2 and 3 from our mapping source file. All right, so what we're going to want to do now is we're going to update the aliases with maps. Okay, there's no feedback mechanism here, so I'm not sure I did it, so I'm going to hit it twice just to make sure. And then I'm also going to save the mapping file just as a backup. And let's call this one spinner 1 to spinner 2 and 3. So it's pretty explicit, so you know exactly what we've got there. All right, so let me cancel out of this. Just tell it okay, that we're done. If we go and look, we'll see that spinner 2 has all the submodels that have been mapped to it. Spinner 3 similarly has all those submodels mapped except for the region dividers. All right, you can save this if you'd like to, just as a backup. Let's go ahead and we'll just save the sequence as, and we'll just call it what it is. It's mapping spinner 1 to spinner 2 and 3. Now the only reason why I'm saving it is because if you ever have to duplicate this process for anything, it just saves you time. It takes out the first step in the process. So it doesn't take up a lot of space because it's just an animation, no graphics, no music. So go ahead and just save that so that you have it. All right, so now we have the source, the resources that we need. So let's go ahead and we're going to create a new sequence. Let's make this one a musical sequence. I think I might have the music here, maybe not. This is from Pixel Perfect Sequences. It's his Snowflake Shuffle sequence, cute little sequence that he did. And I'm going to map in from that. So let me import the effects, and we're going to do it from Snowflake Shuffle. And we've got some sources here anyway. So what we're going to do is we're going to map to this first one here. And thankfully he does map to spinners. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to take whatever he's got mapped on his, and I'm going to map it to 1. So we've got the Showstopper spinner 1 there. And we've got short arrows. Let's see if we can find those somewhere. Now he is using a model that is not numbered, and so it takes a little bit of finding some of these things. Okay, he also has multiple spinners, but we're not going to use that this instance because that's very unusual. All right, so anyway, we've got that done. Let's tell it OK. And we're not going to save that for this purpose, so I'm going to save it. And if we come in here and look at Showstopper Spinner 1, and we click on it, you can see here that we have multiple views. I'm going to change it to the master view so we get some timing marks. All right, so you can see there we have brought in some mappings for that. I'm going to go ahead and save and render that. We'll just call it Snowflake Shuffle. So we're saving it. It's going to go through the render. Let's come out. Let's take this house preview out here. Let me expand it a little bit. We can turn down the audio so I don't blow you out there. Okay, and you can see we've got some mappings that go to the first one there. Now, we are going to import effects. We're going to map back onto itself. And so we've got Snowflake Shuffle. We're going to open that. And we're going to tell it to auto map. And when you did that, you see here we picked up the things to spinners 2 and spinner 3. Now, obviously, this is a simplified example, but when you do this, there's no need to erase or anything like that because we're mapping to new models. So we've done the auto map. We just tell it OK. Are you sure you want to leave without changing? Yep, we can do that. Now, let me save and render that again. Bring this down here, expand it a little bit so we can see it. And you can see there that we picked up all those mappings. Very simple, very straightforward. Didn't have to have subgroups to do that. We just created a little extra mapping file and then put all that information into our aliases. Once we put all that information into our aliases, we can use that. Now, I just wanted to show you that you can use this with any source material. It doesn't have to be a Showstopper sequences sequence. You know, it can be one of Joe's at Pixel Perfect, whatever you like to do. But anyway, just thought I'd show you that technique. Now, one of the neat things about that technique is when you are creating the mapping file from the first prop, you can make decisions about, okay, what do I want to do? Do I want these to be identical, or do I want to change these up a little bit? What I mean by that is when you create the mapping file to the aliases, one of the things you can do is since I've divided up the prop by region, you can change where the mappings go and know that it's still going to cover the same region of the prop. And so you can end up with a different look by mapping different submodels to the second and the third prop. Or you can do what I did and keep them identical as you go through. But it's strictly your call how you want to handle that. Another thing that you can do is you can kind of have the best of both worlds. That is, if you go through and create one where you make all the aliases identical, that's absolutely fine. Then go back the second time, change the layout so that you know, your second or third prop, or however many you have, is doing something different. Then you can save that as a mapping file. And when you come back and map it back onto itself, rather than hitting the auto map, you can use the mapping file that has the variations in it. So it gives you a lot of flexibility in how you do this, so that you know, you can get exactly what you want with your mappings very easily without creating literally 88 submodel groups for a single prop. So I hope that helps you, and I hope it's something that makes your mapping life a little easier.